YouTube! Ah! I think this jumper's probably been announced and over talked about the last couple of days, but this is the two strats that I had in American 97 strats that I swapped the scratch plates over. I forgot to tell the guy that I'd finished them, and then I think he's coming over this afternoon. It's like, oh, I want to do a wee video on them. So these, neither of these have got new strings or have been. They don't, to be honest, this one doesn't really need setup. That one's only got 5 strings, so I might not get to that one if he comes to the door first. So, what colour would that be? Blue. But it'll be some fancy blue. Maple neck, one piece neck. One piece neck. This one has locking tuners on it. I don't see a brand on them. Kind of polished aluminium looking ones. Kind of match the bridge on it. It's got kind of fancy matte aluminium or whatever metal it is saddles, and it's a 2-point trim. It's a slight less friction, more likely to work. So this would be like a. They have been, they have been improving. It's not. This, I suppose you would call this like a modern Strat 97. It's not. It's 25 years old. It doesn't feel 25 years old, but I guess you would talk about, being modern, having a slightly different bridge and probably hotter output, as opposed to being like a 54 reissue or whatever it was. So it's not very often I get to play American Strats, and I'll be honest, you can tell quite immediately. I'm not sure you could tell immediately whether this was an American or a Japanese one without looking at it, but you can totally tell that it's not like a Mexican one, or it's definitely not a Squire. It's like it's a league up. So I keep getting distracted by this jumper. Yeah. So one of these, you can tell if it's actually an American. It's not just a logo on it. There's no way this is a logo on it. It's got a bar serial number and stuff. But see, it's got like the bit around the truss rod cover. It's like a wee wooden fillet. On cheaper guitars, there is no fillet, and on like Mexican ones, it's a plastic fillet. My Japanese one comes in that end. Where's the other Japanese one? That's the same. They're like 57 reissues or something like that, so they've got the truss rod in there, so they don't have a fillet at all. Well, they've got a bit of wood stuck in, but not like where you put the truss rod in. 22 fret, so again, a slightly more, not a strictly classic vintage original Stratocaster. Well, it is, but I mean, the extra fret doesn't really cause any problems anywhere, but it gives you an extra fret, so you're less likely to run out of notes. Your pickup's still in the same place and all that. It does make it a little bit more annoying to take the scratch plate off because there's a wee bit of an overhang. So you have to kind of, you saw me take the scratch plate out this. So this one is the one that went back to having the original pickups in it. This had the bareknuckles in it, and it's now got the original American Strat pickups. So I suppose I will maybe play things that don't use the E string, and then we'll see what the difference is between this and the bareknuckles, see if it's noticeable. Although the strings on that one are pretty old. That guitar there, I think, is. The guy apologised. Don't judge me when he handed it to me. It's a bit. I think he's not played it for a good few years, so it's kind of. It's got that slight unloved, not unloved. Like the neglected, not abused. Just like maybe she's been sitting on a stand for a while, not getting played. It might be one of those ones where a string snapped and then it just sat in the corner and then they forgot about it, sort of thing. So as your bridge pickup through the orange TH30 with no pedals on. And the pickups sound fantastic. These are the original ones. I don't know about the bareknuckles. They were more expensive, so they must be better. But it's got that real spanky quacky thing. Just in two. I don't think this is the fully. Well, as I said, it's like a sort of a modern version with my radii gauges. I think this might be like a 10 rather than the 7 1/4, which you normally get, which you sometimes get on like the original. So we're probably going for there's a 9.5 and a 10. I don't know if I can tell the difference between. We'll try the 9.5. I think that's what these might be. Here we go. Just yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure that they're half a millimetre is going to be noticeable in these things, so it's either a 9.5 or a 10. That was the 9.5 seemed to fit perfectly, but I'm pretty sure the 10 would also. I don't know how much. I don't think they're laser micron accurate, but it'll tell you whether it's like a 10 or a 12 or a 7.25 approximately. Yeah, so it's a slightly flatter fingerboard, just still modern. It's got a more modern feeling neck. I guess. Middle pickup. It's so loud, this jumper, isn't it? Neck. And just one more thing to check. Oh, the tone control does do the neck, the bridge pickup as well. So does it do the middle pickup the same one? Yeah, so there you go. So this tone is for the neck, the bridge and the middle, not just the, and then this one will just be the neck. Yes. Yeah. I'd say these pickups are a wee bit low. Rat pedal coming on. It's really good. It's really good. I mean, even just playing it for 5 minutes there, suddenly started going, oh, right. It's got that thing that my Schecter P-Bass has, and the Telecaster does a bit, where you're playing it. And it's amazing, obviously, to start with. Amazing, but when you're playing it a wee bit more, you start going, hold on. It's letting me do things that I don't normally do. It's making me play things I don't normally play. Just because I think it's really good, which is maybe just part of the thing when you just get, when you get up to a certain quality level, you don't really get much better than, like they get to a point where you don't get much better, but you do get slightly better. So it's just, and this is just a couple of wee notches up above, which makes a difference. It's like you can get the best bottles of wine, and then you get to Buckfast, and it's just that bit better than any other kind of wine. I really love the sound of these pickups as well. They've got that vintagey twang thing going on, which I've actually got in that one, which has got kind of vintage. It's got the Japanese 54 issue, whatever it is, pickups. It's kind of got that, but they're louder. Normally, when you put hot pickups in a Strat, you lose that, what makes it a Strat, really, a bit. It's like that. I'm not one for the hot pickups as much. I would much rather have the vintage voice ones. They're just a bit quieter. You have to turn the volume up a wee bit. So in my case, on that amp, I'd have to have it as not just having the volume cord off, just on. I've got it just up another millimetre, kind of thing. But these seem to be quite loud, but also they're totally the twangy, vintagey ones that I like. It does all the Stratty things very, very, very well. It's like, what is a Strat? The ultimate, you can't be argued in any way whatsoever. An American Fender Strat is the Strattiest Strat you can get. And that's what this one is. Very, 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 very Stratty. Yep, so I'm actually going to plug in the other one. Even though it's only got 5 strings, I will tune the 5 strings up and see if it plays, and see if the bareknuckles sound any different. I don't know what I would do if you gave me these 2 guitars, right, and said, right, you can have one of them and any combination of parts between the 2. I don't know what I would take. No, I would say Jim did not say you can have one of them. No. But it's one of those things that I don't think I've tuned this up since I put strings on it. I appear to have roughly tuned it in some respect. So only 5 strings though, so just an idea, and the neck on this is really pretty dirty. But I can totally understand why before you do the guitar up you would get the scratch plate switched over. See! Immediately! Okay, we're missing the high string, but these are more what I would have said were like the hot output. These are not as twangy and stratty as those pickups. These bare knuckle ones. Does have old strings on this one though. I do like the body in this is stunning, 2-piece ash, I would think. And this one's got the rosewood fingerboard. This is still, and it's got the original tuners on it, but this is the same model, whatever. I think it's just a USA Strat. I think maybe in 97 it was maybe just called the standard Strat before they made the standard Strat, the Mexican one. Like the not any sort of reissue, just a Fender American Stratocaster. Bang! This is what it's currently like in 1997. With, as I said, the wee slight modifications, as in it's got a more stable bridge because it's got the 2-point instead of 6-point, and a slightly fatter finger, fretboard radius, and jumbo frets. The original Strats would have had really thin frets, like Japanese ones. But I mean, I have to say that going with the two of these, I prefer the pickups that are in the blue one, and that's not the expensive bare knuckle ones. They're not as, they're probably more versatile. These ones you could probably do a bit more if you were having to do a black sat. If you're in a wedding band and you were playing Paranoid or something, or Breaking the Law or something, you'd probably be better off with a guitar like this because this could do that better. Whereas the proper, they're not proper single coils, you know what I mean? The sort of the vintage output ones are much more twangy and stratty, which probably don't work quite as well for that. I did notice that in playing with Cranking House. When we're doing all our own songs, it doesn't matter what I play. It's like fine, whether I play single coils or humbuckers. But when we did, like when we play we play Breaking the Law because we don't have enough songs to fill a set. When you play it in single coils, it just sounds wrong because you're used to hearing it on humbuckers. Judas Priest, whereas all the songs that I wrote or did the riffs for, there isn't a set. You've not heard it 1,000 times, so it's like, should it be humbuckers or single coils? They both sound really good. Still get that. This is the one with the funny indentation in the tone control. I can't tell what it does going down to half. So that's at a full. Down at half at the indent. Seems to take a wee bit out. I wonder. I think that's kind of the difference you get of having a tone control and not having a tone control in the circuit. When you get to half and then you come down, and it works like a tone control, but the top half of it. I can't tell if that makes any difference. I wouldn't bother with having that if it was an option. You think, oh, I might get one of those, whatever that is, the stack thing, unless it's wired up wrong. What I could see on it looked like it was a tone control from the halfway, and then the top bit just seemed to be like a resistor in it. I don't know what the thinking was behind that. Yes. No, I mean, it's very pretty. To be honest, I think I would just have the other one. I like the maple neck, but I'm not sure if I put the maple neck on this one. That may be too mapley, having maple and maple and maple. But I've got a thing for the maple necks, and I do like that colour. It's, unfortunately, I think it's one of those things. I've said, I think he tried to sell that. You might have seen this turquoise or teal or whatever colour it is on Facebook Marketplace with the bare knuckles in it, and said no one interested in buying it. And I think maybe part of that has to do with the colour. It's like people want, it's like a Strat, I'll just have a black one. I've got no personality. I don't want anything interesting. I'll have a black or a tobacco sunburst one. I think that's maybe something like this. It's not. I see, these pickups just sound better. They're much more airy and light for what I would think of being. They're more stratty, and let's be honest, the reason I would buy a Strat is to get a stratty guitar, because I've got other types of guitar, but a stratty one, you want the strattiest of stratness. So I'm still on the fence about whether are they worth the extra money? I don't know. That's the thing. It's not. I don't think anyone, in all honesty, could play even the best Mexican Strat amazing, right? I don't think you could play that, play this and say, oh, they're just the same. It's better. It just is. It might only be a couple of % better, but I mean, there's quite a jump. I would even be tempted to say this is better than the Japanese one. Well, I don't know, mine are pretty knackered and stuff like that. In fact, I'm actually getting a shot of a new Japanese one now in for a setup next week, my pal Chrissy. So maybe that'll be probably a fairer thing. I'm talking about, you know, buying beat up ones that have been, the frets have been stoned and they're all covered in lumps and stuff. That's not the same as having one that's been looked after. There's just something that feels very right about it. You know, it's a kind of, it just feels right. I'm not a snob for the American thing. I don't know what the price difference is. How much does the American Strat cost? Is it? I mean, it's over £1,000, isn't it? Probably. So, but when you come into that argument again, it's like, I'm learning to play the guitar. Should I be buying, you know, a Squire for 150 quid? Or should I just go all out and spend 1,200 quid on a Fender when you're learning? And it's like, well, you're going to be able to tell by looking at it which one's the better guitar, but you're not going to hear it if you're sitting in your, especially if you're just, you know, you're sitting learning chords and stuff like that. There's no point in having, unless you've just got hundreds of money. And then it's a nice thing to have, but I mean, ultimately you could definitely gig with a Squire or gig with this, and I don't think anyone would really notice, especially by the time you've got like a mix and then you've got a sound guy you don't know and all that stuff. But for your own, once you're a pro, I think you can afford yourself the right to own an American Strat. I just remember, I used to get, I think part of my reason with all the, liking the cheap guitars so much is when I started playing guitar in bands and stuff like that, you would always see these folk who obviously spent their entire grant, or like, you know, they were really well off parents or whatever. They'd be playing these really terrible indie bands, and they would have, like, you know, a guitar like this, like, what's this, 97? It's around about this time, they'd have a brand new £1,000 Strat, and they'd play fucking Oasis on it, and it's like, and you can't even really hear them. There's no point. There's no point in having that. You just look like an idiot. Whereas I was always more impressed with folk who had like an old Squire. It was pure beaten up and broken looking, but they could play really well. It's like, oh wow, he's sounding great on the guitar, and it's just a Squire or it's a West Tone or something like that. But wow, it's like great. He's doing all that on a £150 guitar. Whereas if you see someone, you know, with a £1,000 guitar and they're shit, you just go, oh man, how shit would they be on a normal guitar? Never mind having a really great one. Bit of a rant there. This all goes to one guy I remember. I wanted a Rickenbacker bass. Then I got an Ibanez copy of a Rickenbacker bass, and 2 months later I didn't want a Rickenbacker bass, and I've never desired one since. It's like just sticks into your chest. It's horrible. There was a band I knew. I can't remember what they were called. Someone I knew in the co-op, and the bass player was a wee guy, and he had like a Rickenbacker bass brand new, like £2,000 or something like that. And he was pish. And you're just like, wow. £2,000 is that, you know, not even, you know, worse than Gene Simmons. You know, like, you kind of, it just seems such a waste. Obviously there's a certain element of jealousy in that, but it would have made zero difference to him whether he was playing like the £100 Squire P bass or that Rickenbacker. He could send you shit on both. Cool, so that's me done those videos. This chat's likely to turn up any second. I can now have lunch. So this will be during the week at some point. I've no idea. This jumper is pure ridiculous, isn't it? Fucking love it. Cheers, Scott and Jane. Catch you later.